The FedLife podcast is presented by Serving Those Who Serve, a fiduciary, fee-based financial planning firm serving federal government employees and retirees all over the country. This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not intended to be taken as financial advice. All listeners should consult their personal advisors before taking any action. The opinions expressed by our hosts are their own and do not reflect the views, policies, or position of Raymond James. Securities are offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services are offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. Serving Those Who Serve is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services, Inc. And now, here are your hosts. Dan Sipe serves as a branch manager for Raymond James Financial Services and Serving Those Who Serve. Ed Zerndorfer is our guest and federal benefits expert in the space.
Hello and welcome to this episode of the FedLife podcast. I'm your host, Dan Sipe. Additionally, I'm the branch manager here at Serving the Serve, Lee Sipe and Associates. And I'm going to begin, as I always do, by saying thank you. Thank you for taking the time to watch or listen today, but also thank you for your service to the government, to the country, to me, to everyone. You don't hear it enough. You are especially not hearing it enough right now, but you will always hear it here. The other thing you'll always hear is my buddy, Ed Zerndorfer. The guru is back with us once again as part of our ongoing mission to reach, teach, and serve you, the career civilian Fed. But once again, if you're new, we'll be following Ed's FedZone articles, which you can find at fed-zone.com. He writes those every single week of the year. And what I like to say is that Ed has taken your notes in advance. So if you're watching this and saying, oh, I need to write that down. No, you don't. Because if you just head over to the FedZone, you will see the article that is the companion piece for this. So today we're continuing one of Ed's series that I think is so important and often incredibly misunderstood. And that is TSP withdrawal rules. And in today's section, we're going to discuss TSP annuities. Okay, Ed, actually full disclosure, I go back close to 40 years on this, and this is kind of a big deal for me because I've seen just about every TSP statement that also has an annuity payout listed on. So that feels like a marketing piece to me. And as we're going to learn, TSP annuity is not necessarily inside of the TSP system. So let's just jump in on your article, and your one of your opening paragraphs is, what is a TSP annuity?
Well, Dan, I get this question a lot from my clients. As you know, I have a tax practice.
Sure.
And they come in and says, what is an annuity? What is this thing? What is particularly a TSP annuity? I said, in general, what an annuity is, first of all, you usually buy an annuity from an insurance company. So what is an annuity? What does it all mean? I said, the best way to understand what an annuity is consider an annuity upside down life insurance. Okay. And say, what does that mean, upside down? Well, let's suppose somebody needs a life insurance policy, let's say $500,000. They want to buy a $500,000 life insurance policy on themselves. And they apply with the insurance company, and they're approved. This is a $500,000 30-year term life insurance policy. So they apply, and they're approved. They are the life insurance owner. They've named a beneficiary. And if their obligation is to pay the premium, because that's their only obligation. That is their only to pay that annual premium for all 30 years. Say it's a 30-year policy.
Sure.
And what is the obligation of the insurance company? That if the insured, the life insurance policy owner, dies, that the life insurance company has a legal obligation to pay out the $500,000 death benefit to a named beneficiary or beneficiaries.
Gotcha.
With an annuity, it's different. Upside down. Somebody tells an insurance company, here, I have $500,000 that I'd like you to take this money and turn around and pay me for life. Annuitize it. Based on, my age, you're going to pay me a certain amount each month. until I die. So what are the obligations? So what is in the case here, the annuity owner, their obligation was to turn over this money. And once they turn it over, that's it. It's irrevocable. They cannot take it back. And what is the obligation of the insurance company? To pay this individual for the rest of his or her life. And the monthly payment is going to be based on how much the insurance, in this case here, we're using $500,000. The $500,000 the person invested in the annuity, their age, because the older they are, the annuity owner, they have a shorter life expectancy, they're closer to their life expectancy, the larger will be the monthly payment.
Okay. Sure.
So this TSP annuity, what happens is a TSP participant, let's say when he or she retires, deciding, I have all these with the withdrawal options, but what is this annuity paying now? I could take the money out in installments, fixed payments, payments based on life expectancy.
Sure.
But nothing's guaranteed that the TSP is going to last forever. The TSP is what we call a defined contribution plan, in which they're not guaranteed, a TSP participant, a retiree, is not guaranteed anything. Just the opposite when it comes to a federal retiree having a CS rest annuity or FERS annuity. That CS rest annuity, that FERS annuity is guaranteed for life, no matter how long the person lives. So the TSP participant says, wouldn't it be nice if I could get something from the TSP that gives me a guaranteed payment for life?
Sure.
And that's what the TSP annuity is. However, the TSP does not own the annuity. When a TSP participant wants to purchase a TSP annuity, they fill out the application form on their online, and what they say is, I want a certain amount of my TSP account to be turned over to the TSP, who in turn will contracts with an insurance company. I think it's Metropolitan Life Insurance Company. Okay, I think it is. Has been in the past. And what happens here is that the TSP says to the insurance company, okay, we have a TSP participant who has turned over a portion of their TSP account, and we're turning over to you. And now the TSP participant wants to get guaranteed payments for life, guaranteed, no matter how long the TSP participant lives, they want to get a monthly payment.
Gotcha.
So in fact, what's happened here, Dan, is that the TSP participant has made an irrevocable transfer of a portion. They could take all of it of their TSP account, and turned it over to Metropolitan Life Insurance, to the TSP, who in turn turns it over to this insurance company. And then the TSP participant will get guaranteed monthly payments, no matter how long they live. No matter how long they live.
Sure.
So that's essentially what a TSP annuity is. Now, we're going to discuss with all the bells and whistles that are associated with this TSP annuity in terms of the payments, the amount of the payments, because there are certain features of this TSP annuity that if any TSP participant is going to invest in this TSP annuity, I caution them, beware what's out there. In general, Dan, I always tell clients, never invest in anything, annuities, whether it's stocks, bonds, ETFs, anything, crypto, unless they understand what they're investing in. The problem is many people are just blind to, they say, oh, I'll just turn my money over in 1, 2, 3, and then they get disappointed.
And I think part and parcel of that, not to bash anything, but when the annuity payout is offered right on your TSP statement, sometimes you make the jump, whether you should or shouldn't, that it's backed by the full faith and credit of the federal government, something like that. And as you point out, a TSP annuity is not a feature of the TSP system. It is a purchase. And by the way, Ed, you are 100% correct, actually. MetLife is the sole provider for TSP annuities. So again, it's outside the TSP system. Now there are options that people can choose once, if they do decide, they do all of their due diligence. And it's like, yes, I've worked it all out. I've considered everything. I understand this. And I think I want to explore a TSP annuity. They have options, correct?
Correct. Right. They're different options.
Well, tell us about those.
Okay. So when we're talking about a TSP life annuity, Dan, life annuity, it's literally, this TSP annuity is for the life of the TSP participant who is purchasing it. No matter how long they live, they're going to get some income here. There's income. However, there are different types of these life annuity options. One is a single life annuity. What does that mean? It's only on the life of the TSP participant, only that person.
Gotcha.
Okay. Then we have added to that are some more. So I call bells and whistles. It could be a life annuity, a single life annuity with level payments. You get the same amount of the payment for your life. No increases, no COLAs, nothing like that. Or you could get increasing payments, get a cost of living adjustment every year. And then we're going to also talk about later on something called a cash refund option. Refund option. We'll get to that later. We'll get to that a little bit later. Then we have what's called a joint life annuity. What does that mean? The TSP is going to have, TSP participant will have a joint life annuity with their spouse. Also with level or increasing payments, just like it was with the single life annuity. And the third option is a joint life annuity with someone other than the TSP participant's spouse, like a family member, a child, an adult child, or maybe a sibling, a brother or sister, again, with level payments. Or you could, with only level payments. There's no increasing payments associated with a joint life annuity with someone other than someone's spouse.
Gotcha. And I know you cover this extensively in our TSP webinars, which we offer every single month. You like the way I work that in, Ed? And one of the things you point out in there is, okay, you can have a level annuity payment, but if somebody says, yeah, but I want it to keep up with inflation, well, there is one that offers a cost of living, but it's not going to be the same payment, correct? So each bell or each whistle that you add carries a cost, correct?
There is going to be a cost, and I think the best way to describe this is, about 5 years ago, I went onto the TSP website, because on the TSP website there is what they call an annuity calculator. And it allows a TSP participant who's interested in a TSP annuity to run the numbers to see what they would get. And I was very curious about a couple of things, and I sort of did this. You'll see here in a moment. I was playing dumb because I contacted Metropolitan Life Insurance Company. So here's what I did, Dan. At that time, I think I was 68 years old, and I took $100,000. From at that time, I had my TSP account, and based on my age, just a single life annuity with level payments. And I ran, and based on my age, 68, and there's also an interest rate that changes from month to month that Metropolitan uses. The calculator came out and said that based on your age of 68, you will get $1,000 a month for the rest of your life, no matter how long you live. And remember, I was 68 at that time.
Sure.
So I said to myself, boy, that sounds good. But what happens? Let's say I purchased this TSP annuity, and after 2 years, Dan, I passed away. Now, how much did I get in those 2 years? $1,000 a month for 24 months is $24,000.
Yep.
How much did I input to this annuity? $100,000.
Okay. So you're in the red.
I said to myself, well, what happens to the other $76,000? So I called Metropolitan Life Insurance Company. And I said, let me ask you a question. And I gave them the same scenario. What happens to the $76,000? So Metropolitan said, we keep it. I said, what do you mean you keep it? That was my money. Oh, they said, no, it's not.
Not anymore.
Because when you turned over the $100,000, you turned it over to us. We are the owner of the annuity. And the chance you're taking is that if you won't get your money back, $100,000 and with $1,000 a month for $1,000 a month, it would probably take about 8.5 years to get that money back. If you do the math here, but about 8.5 years to get the $100,000 back. I said, but since you died, before you died, we keep that $24,000. We keep the remaining $76,000. And I said, is there any way I can name a beneficiary? And they said, yes, we have what's called the cash refund option, in which you can name anybody's beneficiary. I said, well, that makes me feel better then. But they said to me, that comes with a price. What's the price? You're going to take a reduction in your monthly payment as a result of that cash refund option. I said, what's the reduction? Oh, instead of giving you $1,000 a month, we're going to give you $800 a month.
Big drop.
That's a 20% drop, right? From 1,000 to 800. I said, well, that makes me feel a little bit better, but now I got another problem. Suppose I beat the odds and I live to 98, 30 years later, 98. What you're saying to me, Metropolitan, is you're going to give me $800 a month when I'm 68, when I'm 78, when I'm 88, when I'm 98. Chances are I may have to go to a nursing home in my early 80s, and I'm going to need that money from that annuity to pay for nursing home. I probably, with nursing home costs going up at 4 or 5% a year. Is there any way I can get a COLA to adjust that $800 payment? He said, yes, we have what's called increasing payments. We're going to increase your monthly payment starting in the second year by 3%. 3%. Oh, that makes me feel better. But then they said, it comes with a price. I said, oh, what is the price? Oh, we're going to start you off at a lower payment. How much? We're going to start you at $200 a month. $200 a month?
Ouch.
Dan, what happened here? I just lost $800 because I added these two bells and whistles. Bells and whistles. And that's what you got to be aware of. Be aware of when you buy these annuities. Buy these annuities. These TSP annuities. So that's the survivor annuity. That's giving a cash refund option.
Yep.
There's something also called 10-year certain, in which you can be guaranteed that for 10 years you're going to get the same payment. You get the same payment, but if you were to die within those 10 years, that a beneficiary could take over those payments for the remainder or whatever between the time you died and the 10-year period. But once again, there's going to be a reduction in your monthly payment compared to if you bought the no frills, no lot, called the single life annuity. Single life annuity, which pays the highest monthly payment. But the
Sure.
chances are that if you don't live to full, you don't live to full life expectancy, you run the chance that you're going to leave money on the table, so to speak. Metropolitan is going to keep it.
Absolutely. And, the other thing that you punch up in this, and you've kind of touched on it here, is as you're thinking about whether you want to do this, you need to consider if you've got beneficiary concerns, and then what's the best way to go about doing that.
Yeah, thank God, Dan, that when it comes to federal retirement, there are other ways you can take care of your beneficiaries. I know that anyone's getting a CSRS or FERS annuity can name a survivor annuitant, one person, usually a spouse. When it comes to Social Security. Social Security also has payments, the death payments for certain relatives like spouses, dependent children, dependent parents, and so on. So again, there are other ways to give survivor benefits to loved ones besides the TSP. But my feeling is that one of the real, the other options when it comes to taking money out of the TSP, installment payments based on life expectancy like that, there's no risk there because if you were to die and anything's left in your TSP account, it will go to a named beneficiary. So, I mean, what you're trading in here is in terms of a TSP annuity, is that guaranteed payment. That guaranteed payment, for life, which does not exist when it comes to just regular installment payments. Sure. But it comes with a price.
Absolutely. And folks, please understand, we're not here to bash TSP annuities. We're not here to promote them. We're here to give you as unbiased analysis of them as we can. Within serving those who serve from a planning perspective, one of the points that we'll make is that your FERS or CSRS pension is technically an annuity. What you receive from Social Security, technically an annuity. And for most people, TSP is that one big lump sum pot of money there. When you convert that into an annuity, you're now going back to what our parents and for many people, grandparents talked about of, I'm on a fixed income. So there's no ability to modify that flow. So you have to think very carefully about it. Now, folks, one thing I want to stress, and I told you at the beginning, be sure to grab Ed's FedZone article. Even important here because Ed puts together some of the best charts in the world on this stuff. So he's got some great charts associated with this topic. So be sure to head over to the FedZone. That's fed-zone.com and grab those. Now, Ed, finally, you share what you feel are some important reminders on TSP annuities. What are they?
Yes, I have a list of the important reminders about TSP annuities. Number one, as I had mentioned before, when you purchase a TSP annuity, the purchase is irrevocable. You can't change your mind. You can't get your money back. That's it. Money's turned over. You can't get your money back. Okay? I really recommend that any TSP participant who is interested in a TSP annuity, please go online. Okay, go to the thrift line and learn more about about the annuity, and go to the calculator. Run your numbers. Ask yourself, why am I buying this thing? Why am I purchasing a TSP annuity? Have an idea in terms of how much do you expect in terms of income from this annuity, and that'll determine how much you want to take out of your TSP account. But please understand what are the downsides with this
Sure.
annuity. And for that, I want to repeat what you said, Dan. Please look at my charts, because I did an example where someone was, someone named John, age 59, just retired from federal service, and he was considering taking $250,000 from his traditional TSP account, and to purchase a TSP annuity. And what I did was I did every type of scenario: level payments, cash refund option, 10-year certain, increasing payments, and it showed what the payments would be for 18 years. What would happen if John were to die at 77? What would happen? So I think it's a good idea to look at that chart to give you an idea of what I was talking about, and then go to the annuity calculator. And by the way, in the column, the annuity calculator is referenced. You can just click on that to go to calculator. Okay. TS participants are advised to compare the different types of annuities and benefit amounts to determine which annuity best fits a TS participant's final goals and needs.
Mm-hmm.
It's like any other type of investment, Dan. I always tell my clients, before you invest in anything, what are your goals? What are your needs? If you find out, well, the TSP annuity best meets my needs and my goals, then fine. But understand what you're getting yourself into. Also, the interest rates the interest rates that are associated with the TSP annuity change monthly.
Sure.
What I'm saying is there are good times perhaps to buy an annuity. That is when the interest rate is higher. As we are right now, the interest rates are higher. I think the rate I had when I did my calculations, the July rate was like almost 4.8%. When I did it a couple of years ago, it was like 2.2%.
Sure.
So you want to purchase this annuity at the best possible time. And one last comment, Dan, and I pointed this out in the column, that if you're a FERS employee and you're married and you're now thinking about how to take money out of the TSP, we have something called spousal rights. Spousal rights when it comes to the CSRS and FERS employees. But with a FERS employee, if you want to take money out of the TSP, default is a 50% joint life annuity with your spouse. This is with your spouse. Level payments and no cash refund option.
Gotcha.
I wrote a separate column on that. What would happen if a FERS retiree takes that option? I recommend that everyone, FERS and CS, anybody, read that column, because
Absolutely.
my bottom line is it's not a good choice. Not a good choice. And I have examples. What happens? I have 3 examples in there where a married couple, a FERS employee who's married, chooses this option. Now, if they don't want, if a married FERS participant TSP participant does not want this default option, then their spouse and wants to do, let's say, fixed payment withdrawals or payments based on life expectancy, or just roll it over to an IRA, any of those, then their spouse has to consent in writing that they're waiving this 50% survivor benefit. Please read that column.
Absolutely,
because I think
folks.
it's going to make your hair stand up.
Absolutely. So in sum, Ed, TSP annuities are an option, but you need to think long and hard and have all your data before you commit to one. Right?
I agree. And and if you need any more questions, please talk to your financial advisor. I know that we do a TSP webinar each month. We talk a little bit about the TSP annuity, not as much as we have today, but I also want to push that if you don't have a financial advisor, want to repeat what you said, Dan, go to Serving Those Who Serve, because I know the people serving those who serve are well versed in all the aspects of TSP, all the withdrawal options, and they know about the TSP annuity, and they will answer questions.
Absolutely, folks. And to put your mind at rest. Okay, well, number one, you can reach us at meetings@stwserve.com. And if this is what you want to discuss, we're happy to do that. We do this as part of our regular webinars. We call it part 2 because the webinars are general education. And then we get into personalized education because you need to understand these things. So what I'm fond of saying is people go out of their way. They get tutors for their kids in elementary school, in middle school, in high school, in college to help them do better. Why wouldn't you get a tutor to help you on this? To help you understand it. We're happy to do that. No strings, no pitches, no solicitation. We will help you with that because it's too important. So you invest in your kids, be sure to invest in yourself too. And Ed, brother, I got to thank you because I know there's lots of people who write, but I don't know of any that go into the depth and breadth that you do to get to the real things that people need to understand. I don't know how you keep it all straight, but on behalf of Feds, thank you for doing that.
My pleasure. Thank you, Dan.
Well, folks, that's a wrap. And we are, say it with me, Serving Those Who Serve. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast on our YouTube channel and Spotify. And seriously, do subscribe. Because if you find this to be helpful, simply by you subscribing, we're not going to send you stuff. We're not going to solicit anything. we'll let you know when an episode drops. But as far as staying on top of things, you're going to get it. And that also helps us get the word out to your colleagues in federal service. So the more folks subscribe, YouTube goes, hey, this is good stuff. More Feds should see it. Don't forget those live webinars that I've mentioned. They're every single week pretty much. And just go to the SWS website, that is swserve.com. You'll see the webinar button top right. Click on it, and that's going to open up the whole landing page. You got the whole menu. Yes, the guru will come to you. Reach you where you are, teach you where you are, and above all, serve you where you are. Feel free to sign up for one or all and share it with your friends. I guarantee they will thank you. Be sure to read Ed every single week in the Fed Zone. That's fed-zone.com. You don't want to miss out on that. So for Ed Zerndorfer, the crew at Serving Those Who Serve, and me, Dan Sight, I'm going to sign off as I always do by saying good luck, Godspeed, and above all, remember, it's your Fed life. Make it a great one because you deserve it. Stay well, everybody. We are out.